On Friday, September 6th in San Diego, California, the American Football League began its 9th season of play. The opening game matched the explosive San Diego Chargers against the league's youngest member, the Cincinnati Bengals. This contest marked the birth of a new team and the return of a great old coach. 60-year-old Paul Brown, a member of the Hall of Fame and once the stern taskmaster of the Cleveland Browns. He gave his rookie-laden Bengals a high mark as they passed from the kindergarten of preseason to the first grade of regular league play. I told them they did a good job, said Brown. They did their best, and nobody can ask more.
Cincinnati's best came in the first quarter, the first time they had the ball. Quarterback Dewey Warren and fullback Tom Smiley combined for Cincinnati's first pass completion. On a reverse, flankerback Warren McVay raced 28 yards to the Charger 23. Paul Robinson, the fourth member of Cincinnati's all-rookie backfield, glided through the San Diego defense for 14 yards. On the next play, Robinson turned left in and out-sprinted two Chargers to the end zone. With 5 minutes elapsed in the opening quarter, the surprising Bengals led 7-0. The Chargers, still resting on the laurels of their tremendous preseason victory over the Los Angeles Rams, looked disorganized in their first series, yet still managed to move the ball into the range of Dennis Partey's foot. Partey's field goal cut the Bengal lead to 7-3. Late in the first period, the Chargers regained possession, and under the veteran leadership of quarterback John Hadle, they began to assert their superiority. Halfback Dick Post and fullback Brad Hubbard jabbed at the vulnerable Cincinnati flank, setting up the young team for the knockout punch. Dick Post, number 22, delivered it with a beautiful weaving run that carried 48 yards to the Cincinnati goal. Post's run did more than put the Chargers into the lead. It exposed a fatal weakness in the Bengal defense, the inability to contain the Chargers' wide running attack. Dale Livingston's field goal tied it up at the half, but the Chargers had assumed control of the game. In the second half, Sid Gilman's wide-open offensive machine shifted into high gear and rolled over the Bengals. Dick Post, last year's Offensive Rookie of the Year, roamed through the scattered Cincinnati defenses for steady gains. Post was the game's leading rusher with 140 yards in 16 attempts. Bull-like Brad Hubbard, number 26, contributed some booming runs and plunged 1 yard for a touchdown that put San Diego ahead to stay. Cincinnati became overly conscious of Post and Hubbard, quarterback John Hadel teamed with split-end Gary Garrison for several key pass completions. Big play offense is a term that is often used to describe San Diego's attack. Last season, they scored 13 times on runs or passes of longer than 60 yards. The man who puts the word big in the Chargers' big play offense is number 83, Willie Frazier, a 6'4", 230-pound game buster from Arkansas A&M. In the second half, Willie wrecked the Bengals with 2 touchdown receptions, and the Chargers coasted home with a 29-13 opening day triumph.
Well, Paul Brown came back to the big time, and his Cincinnati Bengals went down fighting. Their loss was expected, and despite the old master's guidance, they fell victim to the same disease that plagues all expansion teams: mistakes.
Dropped passes, fumbles, missed assignments, and inexperience combined to bring an end to several Bengal drives. But youth can be tolerated if the future augurs success. And the success of an expansion team is built on rookies. Men like number 18, Paul Robinson from Arizona, a smooth-running halfback who was Cincinnati's leading ground gainer. Rookie Tom Smiley, number 45 from Lamar Tech, proved his worth as a receiver as well as a runner. But an expansion team is not entirely rookies. Cheryl Hedrick, number 69, a 10-year veteran obtained from the Kansas City Chiefs, made more tackles than anyone else on the field and adds experience and poise to a youthful defense. Cincinnati's defense gave up many completions to the Chargers, but their lack of experience was counterbalanced by their fierce desire to hit. Fletcher Smith, number 31, is the ringleader of Cincinnati's secondary. His pesky play harassed San Diego's receivers throughout the game. In fact, the Chargers' fine flanker, Lance Alworth, number 19, was hit so hard and so often by Smith that he lost his temper and was ejected from the game in the fourth quarter. Maybe Alworth was lucky. The Bengals' future opponents might lose more than their temper.
In Buffalo, the Bills started their season with an all-rookie backfield, which for a while looked as though it could move at will through the tough Boston defense. But then the Patriots' defense stiffened. Despite the absence of league-leading rusher Jim Nantz, Boston came back strong on the running of veteran Larry Guerin and a rookie from South Carolina State by the name of R.C. Gamble. At the start of the game, though, a Boston victory seemed highly unlikely.
On their very first series of downs, the Buffalo Bills' all-rookie backfield produced its first hero when fullback Ben Gregory broke a Boston tackle and sprinted 35 yards to the Patriot 33. On reviewing Gregory's run, we can see that the Bills caught number 85, All-Pro middle linebacker Nick Buoniconti blitzing and burned him by sweeping to the outside. Once past the scrimmage line, Gregory had only one man to beat, but number 23, Darrell Johnson, momentarily saved a touchdown. First-year quarterback Dan Dara then combined with rookie flanker Haven Moses to move Buffalo to the Patriot 12. With a 3rd and goal on the 6th, the Bills shocked Boston with an end around for the first score of the game. On the Bills' touchdown, Dara deceived the Patriots like a seasoned pro, then handed the ball to tight end Paul Costa, who followed number 62 tackle Dick Cunningham to a touchdown. It was Buffalo's first touchdown of the new season, but it was to be their last one of the game. After a series of brilliance, the Bills' rookie backfield soon exposed their inexperience, and Boston was finally able to beat them. But there was the promise of a punishing fullback, like Ben Gregory, and the poise of quarterback Dan Dara from William & Mary, who subbed for injured Jack Kemp and exhibited a strong, accurate arm. Number 25, graceful flanker Haven Moses, Buffalo's #1 draft pick, grabbed 6 passes and instinctively knew what to do with the ball once he caught it. But finally, the Bills' mistakes betrayed them. A player moving before the snap canceled an important drive and nullified a beautiful catch by Albert Dubinion. The failure to firmly secure the football caused the Bills 3 costly fumbles. When in striking distance, Dara couldn't deliver the game breaker, and Boston intercepted 2 of his errant throws. It was more than Dara's inexperience that beat the Bills 16-7. It was the magnificent Boston defense, led by number 65, Houston Antwine, that was most responsible. When Antwine was checked, Nick Buoniconti led a daring defense that blitzed Dara with gleeful abandon. After Buffalo's first touchdown drive, the Boston defense repeatedly held firm, and Boston went in at halftime trailing only 7-3. Willie Porter's second-half kickoff return signaled the pattern that the Patriot offense would use for victory. They would run to win. On Boston's first offensive play of the 3rd quarter, the Patriots showcased a rookie of their own when halfback R.C. Gamble sliced off his right side and raced 45 yards to a touchdown and a 10-7 lead for the Patriots. Two field goals by Gino Cappelletti ensured the Patriot victory, but it was a swift trio of large and mean setbacks standing in for injured Jim Nance that made it all possible. Number 22, Gene Thomas, along with number 40, Larry Guerin, did most of the early running. But the herald for a surprise Boston win was a little-known rookie back from tiny South Carolina State College named R.C. Gamble, number 13. Gamble knifed his way through a stubborn Buffalo defense for 90 yards and Boston's only touchdown of the game. In a game dominated by rookies on both sides, Gamble made the fewest mistakes, caused the most excitement, and made opening day for Joe Collier's Buffalo Bills a sad one.
For the most exciting game of the week, let's go to the Astrodome, where the Houston Oilers, champions of the Eastern Division, collided with the powerful Kansas City Chiefs.
The weakest phase of the Houston Oilers offense last year was a decidedly inferior passing attack. Against the Kansas City Chiefs, they wasted little time proving that at last they had found the receivers to complement their strong-armed quarterback, Pete Beathard. On their very first series, tight end Alvin Reed, number 89, and setback Hoyle Granger, number 32, found large holes in the Chiefs secondary and moved Houston to the Kansas City 14. Switching to his running game, Beathard attacked the right side of Kansas City's mammoth defensive line, and halfback Sid Blanks swept inside the 10-yard line. On the next play, Hoyle Granger, the AFL's second leading rusher last year, sliced through a huge hole in the Chief line for a touchdown. In a game that might well be a preview of the AFL Championship in December, Houston led Kansas City 7-0. After a Kansas City field goal narrowed Houston's lead to 4 points, quarterback Pete Beathard continued to successfully pick apart the Chiefs' pass defense, and on 2 passes to Alvin Reed, moved the Oilers to within range of a touchdown again. Then on the most decisive play of their first half, and perhaps the game, Beathard made a fatal mistake when his intended pass to Reed was intercepted by the Chiefs' Jim Kearney. Instead of leading 14-3, Houston relinquished control of the game to the Chiefs. In the second period, and in fact for most of the game, Kansas City quarterback Lenny Dawson passed infrequently. But when he did, his primary target was split-end Otis Taylor, number 89, a large, powerful, and graceful man who led the Chiefs to their first real scoring opportunity. With it 4th and 1, Kansas City fullback Wendell Hayes, number 38, smashed over blocker and tackler alike for the Chiefs' first touchdown in a 10-7 lead. Late in the first half, Dawson relied on basic, crushing power of football. Blending a reception by Taylor and the running of Bert Cohn, number 23, Dawson moved the Chiefs inside the Houston 10. Then Dawson resorted to an old but always effective bit of deception, the end around. Speedy Otis Taylor raced by the stunned Oilers to give the Chiefs a comfortable 17-7 lead at halftime. The Chiefs, who played in the first Super Bowl in 1966, had been a dismal disappointment last year. They seemed to lack direction and purpose, and finally surrendered their crown to the Oakland Raiders. In response to a new year and a new challenge, the Chiefs seem to have recaptured their power and promise of 2 years ago. Through the third quarter and part of the fourth, the Chiefs continued to dominate play. Wendell Hayes and Curtis McClinton, number 32, ripped through the center of Houston's defense. The specialty team, sparked by number 1, 5'6" Nolan Smith, repeatedly gave Kansas City good field position. Last season, Houston led the AFL in rushing, but in this game, the Chiefs' defense limited them to a meager 55 yards. Kansas City's monstrous front line made it painfully apparent to the Oilers that if they were to move the ball, it would not be by running. Ernie Ladd, number 99, led a ferocious pass rush, and on several occasions he tossed quarterback Pete Beathard around like a rag doll. The Chiefs' defense set up Jan Stenerud's fourth field goal, and with 11 minutes to play in the game, Kansas City led 26-7. In 1967, the Oilers became the first pro football team ever to vault from last to first in one season. Midway through the final period, they began to demonstrate the fire and spirit that so characterized their play last year. On a quick pitch out, Granger circled left end to the Chiefs' 16. With 8 minutes remaining, Beathard connected with rookie Mac Hike for a touchdown, but Houston still trailed by 12 points. 2 minutes later, Beathard and Hike again combined for a touchdown. This one carried 59 yards, and Houston was back in the game. The Chiefs were unable to move the ball, and the inspired Oilers regained possession. Beathard hit Sid Blanks down the middle, and only a great tackle by swift Willie Mitchell prevented a touchdown. With the ball on the Kansas City 16 and trailing now by only 5 points, Houston seemed on the verge of an amazing comeback. But Emmett Thomas smashed the Oiler hopes with a clutch interception. With 1 minute, 40 seconds to play, Kansas City had only to hold on to the ball for victory. But Houston combined a tough defense with a judicious use of timeouts, and once again had the football with less than a minute to play. When Beathard threw complete to Ode Burrell, Houston's chance for a fantastic come-from-behind win again seemed possible. But with 21 seconds left, a gallant bid for victory died in the Chiefs' end zone when Beathard's fourth down pass fell incomplete. Houston's comeback was thwarted, and Kansas City claimed a 26-21 triumph.
So this, the first week of AFL competition, was a week that saw 3 teams waste away early leads and eventually suffer defeat. The Bengals, the Bills, and the Oilers all scored first, but ended up last on the final tally. In pro football, it matters not who scores first or last, but most often. I'm Charlie Jones. American Football League action is now in high gear, and routes and upsets told the story of this week's games. In Buffalo, New York, the Oakland Raiders met the Buffalo Bills, and many were waiting to see if the defending champion jinx that hit the Kansas City Chiefs last season would now strike at the incumbent Raiders. The once powerful Bills have been struck hard by preseason injuries and are trying to rebound behind a core of surprising rookies.
Max Anderson, number 22, who is 5 feet 8 inches tall and weighs 178 pounds and is only 23 years old, is part of Buffalo's all-rookie backfield. Jack Kemp is injured, so the quarterback is rookie Dan Dara, 13th-round draft choice from William & Mary. The rookies must hold their own and play beside the veterans, but there seems to be one rookie who already stands above the rest. He's Haven Moses from San Diego State, who is captured here in a graceful but unsuccessful attempt at a Dara bomb. From the opening gun, the powerful Raiders dominated play, and it was their defense that set up 2 quick scores. With 6 minutes gone in the first quarter, Paul McGuire punted to Oakland rookie George Atkinson, who caught it at his own 15-yard line. Atkinson's touchdown made it 7-0 Oakland, as he initiated a Raiders scoring avalanche as well as a personal onslaught against the Bills. In 5 punt returns, he gained 205 yards, which is a new league record. Minutes later, Gus Otto blitzed with the same results as before. Buffalo was forced to punt, and unfortunately for them, it was to be returned again by George Atkinson, the heretofore unheralded rookie from Morris Brown College. Pete Banaszak scored Oakland's second touchdown within 2 minutes as he ran over the flag from 9 yards out. The defense had set up the first 2 scores, but now the Raider offense was to be really tested for the first time. There were many familiar faces, including center Jim Otto. But perhaps the most familiar was that of the AFL's Player of the Year, Darryl LaMonica, who linked up with Warren Wells on a spectacular 57-yard scoring pass. Raiders 21, Bills nothing. In the second quarter, Buffalo launched their first legitimate scoring drive with mini Max Anderson supplying the punch. His 45-yard off-tackle sprint put them in great field position. But like other drives to follow, the Oakland defense went to work inside the 10-yard line. With LaMonica faking beautifully, Oakland started to move on the ground. Larry Todd carried past midfield. And then fullback Hewitt Dixon, number 35, rumbled in to score a touchdown that gave the Raiders a halftime lead of 31-0. In the second half, Bob Capadonna, number 36, tried to get Buffalo moving. Then it looked like the first half was repeating itself again when Ben Davidson hit Darrah from the blind side. But this time, All-Pro guard Billy Shaw was in the right place at the right time. Buffalo scored its only touchdown on a nice catch and run by Capadonna midway into the third quarter. With 1 quarter remaining and trailing 34-6, the Oakland defense must have been an awesome sight to the Bills. Ike Lassiter, Ben Davidson, Dan Connors, Willie Brown, and the others, besides holding Buffalo to a touchdown, held them to a staggering net passing count of minus 19 yards. The fourth quarter belonged to Larry Todd, number 22, a smooth-striding halfback who's been a second stringer behind Pete Banaszak. Oakland's message to the rest of the league is that if Larry Todd is playing behind someone, they must be a stronger team than ever. And last year, they were the best in the AFL. Oakland 48, Buffalo 6.
Two years ago, the Houston Oilers made a big mistake. They lost twice to the newly formed Miami Dolphins. Ever since, the Dolphins have considered the Oilers fair game.
The first quarter in the Orange Bowl couldn't be fair, with the score tied 3-all on a pair of field goals. But early in the second quarter, the Oilers' passing game starts to click. Pete Beathard's use of his backs as receivers moves Houston to the mid-stripe. The Oilers won the rushing championship in '67, but had a poor passing attack. They went for receivers in the draft. Their first choice, number 86, Mac Haik. The rookie flanker comes through with Houston's first touchdown of the game. The 48-yard combination from Beathard puts the Oilers ahead 10-3. Miami takes over. Quarterback Bob Griese is known for his accuracy, but Houston's forward wall applies the pressure and Griese is forced to throw on the run. Number 29, Ken Houston, intercepts and finds running room up the middle. The 66-yard run back gives the Oilers their second score in 2 minutes. Behind 17-3, Miami must get on the board. Houston kicks off after the touchdown. Bob Neff fields the kick on the goal line. Neff is gone. Almost. In a desperation effort, Houston Zeke Moore trips Neff on the 5 after a 95-yard return. What should be the break to put the Dolphins back in the game is stopped cold by another interception. This one by number 43, Jim Norton. The Miami fans are now getting restless, but the Dolphins stall the Oilers and regain possession. Griese on target to halfback Stan Mitchell, and again the Dolphins are in scoring range. but Houston's division title rests heavily on their defensive secondary. Number 41, Larry Carwell, comes up with another key interception. This time, Miami does not get the ball right back. Pete Beathard sparks a new Oiler drive with his 35-yard completion to Lionel Taylor. With his receivers blanketed, Beathard is forced to keep. He gets the first down and stops the clock. A minute left in the half, and Beathard finds Charlie Frazier over the middle to the 1. First and goal. Halfback Woody Campbell knifes through for the score. The 3-touchdown lead at halftime takes the pressure off the Oilers and puts Miami under the gun. Houston holds Miami until midway through the fourth period. Frank Emanuel picks off Beathard's deflected pass, and the Dolphins have the ball inside the Oilers' 10. Rookie fullback Larry Zonka bulls his way to the 1. Houston holds till fourth down, but then Greasy throws an unexpected strike to Carl Noonan. But it's too late to change the outcome of the game. The Oilers hold the Dolphins to a 24-10 decision. Miami fans will have to reevaluate the Oilers, who are looking to repeat as Eastern Division champs in '68.
Some people say the New York Jets lost the '67 Eastern Division Championship in Kansas City. The Jets were 5-1-1 when an injury to Emerson Boozer in Kansas City killed New York's running game and eventually their championship bid.
But that was 1967. Today the Jets open their '68 campaign in Kansas City with a healthy Emerson Boozer. But New York's running game is only to keep the defense honest, so Joe Namath can pass. One of his favorite receivers is number 13, Don Maynard. The 57-yard Namath to Maynard combination puts the Jets ahead 7-0. The Chiefs' offense, basically a power machine, always presents a passing threat. Fred Arbanis penetrates Jets territory. Defensively, the Jets finished third last year. Jerry Philbin catches Lynn Dawson from the blind side, and the Chiefs are forced into a field goal situation. With the ball spotted on the 33, Jan Stenerud, the Chiefs' soccer-style kicker, puts the Chiefs on the board at the end of the first quarter. New York swings back behind Namath's passing. It's a 1-and-1 situation between Maynard and Goldie Sellers, and again Maynard is open. In close, Namath again looks for Maynard, but this time he's well covered, and New York will have to try a three-pointer. Jim Turner from the 22. It's good, and the Jets extend their lead 10-3. In the closing moments of the first half, Emerson Boozer, number 32, gets his chance to show the Chiefs that his right knee is healed. With less than 2 minutes till halftime, Don Maynard is again matched head-to-head with Goldie Sellers. The 30-yarder gives the Jets a 17-3 lead at halftime. After dominating the first half, New York is forced to punt early in the third quarter to Super Nat Nolan Smith. The 80-yard run back by Smith closes New York's lead, and so before the successful extra point, the score read 17-9. The momentum of the game is swung to the Chiefs. Boozer loses the ball. Number 22, Willie Mitchell, recovers, and the Chiefs are in position to tie the score. But on 3rd and 7 at the Jets' 16, Otis Taylor is stopped 2 yards short of the first down. rather than gamble, the Chiefs sent in Jan Stenerud. The 18-yarder is good, but Kansas City still trails 17-13. Again, the Jets try to change the current of the game, but again there is trouble. Joe Namath's pass is intercepted by Willie Lanier. The third quarter ends with the Chiefs in great field position, but still trailing by 4 points. New York's defense stands firm. Lynn Dawson tries a 3rd and 11 touchdown bid to Otis Taylor, but it's too high. Jan Stenerud is sent in to salvage the drive. But the three-pointer still leaves the Chiefs trailing by 1. The Jets must now move the ball. Namath connects with his tight end Pete Lamons when the Chiefs start doubling up on his flanker. Kansas City continues to double-team Maynard, so Namath again goes to Lamons inside Chiefs territory. On 3rd and 1, Boozer to his left, but the lateral movement gives Buck Buchanan time to sleeve tackle Boozer for a loss. The key play of the game, the 42-yarder by Jim Turner, gives the Jets a 20-16 lead. Now New York must stop the Chiefs from scoring a touchdown. With only minutes left, Dawson's 3rd down pass is broken up by Johnny Sample. Jan Stenerud's 28-yarder is good, but still leaves the Chiefs 1 point short as the Jets play out the clock and hand the Chiefs their first loss of the season. In 1967, the Jets' title dream died in Kansas City. This year, it was reborn there.
The Falcons, Saints, Dolphins, and now the Cincinnati Bengals have one thing in common. They're all recent expansion teams, which is an unenviable situation. No expansion team has ever won a game this early. But in Cincinnati, the Bengals aim to change all that against the Denver Broncos.
The first 2 quarters were scoreless and disappointing to both teams. While the Bengals and Broncos displayed solid and often bruising defensive strength, the offense remained unproductive. Several times both teams were within striking distance, but each drive ended in failure. As the half drew to a close, Bengal coach Paul Brown pondered his impotent offense. The second half was a different story. Cincinnati rookie Paul Robinson powered off tackle for 8 yards on the first play. Then quarterback John Stofa threw to number 42 Warren McVay for a 28-yard pickup. On fourth down, Dale Livingston was called in to kick a 49-yard field goal, which gave Cincinnati a 3-0 edge early in the third period. Denver was soon forced to punt, and Cincinnati wasted no time, jumping to a 10-0 lead on a 58-yard bomb from Stofa to number 84, Bob Trumpy. With 8:58 remaining in the third quarter, the Bengals had the upper hand, but Denver fought back. Jim LeClaire, a second-year man from C.W. Post, hit Al Denson with a 23-yard pass. On the next play, LeClaire threw to Denson again, and number 88 picked up 20 more yards. LeClaire then hit number 32, rookie Garrett Ford, with a swing pass that was good for 6 more yards. But the Bengal defense toughened and dropped LeClaire for big losses on the 2 ensuing plays. This strong rush was the primary reason Cincinnati was able to limit Denver's passing game to only 106 yards in 35 attempts. The Broncos had to settle for a 33-yard field goal from newly activated Bob Humphreys. Trailing now by 7 points, Bronco quarterback LeClaire hit number 44, Floyd Little, with a short pass, and Little did the rest. After this 16-yard pickup, LeClaire threw a 5-yard strike to Eric Crabtree, who was open in the end zone. With the score now tied 10-10, the Bengals took over. Stofa hit number 18, Paul Robinson, with a 10-yard screen. Then the turning point came. Tom Smiley picked up a dramatic first down on 4th and inches from the Bronco 46. On the next play, Warren McVeigh was the only receiver downfield, but he was all Stofa needed. The 54-yard bomb made it 17-10, and the Bengals were ahead to stay. Denver's last effort came to an embarrassing halt when LeClaire lost control of the ball attempting to pass. A few minutes later, rookie Essex Johnson from Grambling burst up the middle for a 34-yard touchdown and a final score of 24-10. In winning this game, the Bengals set an expansion team record and even it slated 1 loss and 1 very impressive win. It's a young season with the youngest team scoring its first win and the old champs, the Raiders, showing championship form. Houston bouncing back and the Jets ready to meet Boston. Also next week, the Oilers against the Western powerhouse, the San Diego Chargers. Miami will have its hands full with Oakland, as will Denver with the determined Chiefs. And Buffalo, with its new coach Harvey Johnson, will try to score its first win of the season against the Bengals. I'm Charlie Jones.